Good afternoon, everybody. I hope all is well. If you have been to the channel before, welcome back, folks. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Make yourself at home, folks. Here at World Weather Authority, we are attempting to break down weather events to make them a bit easier to understand. Throughout the day at work earlier today, I had a few moments to glance at the new model guidance, and ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a major storm system over the next few days. Alright, folks, let's first investigate the latest satellite imagery. We can extrapolate from this the massive low pressure system within this broad area of spin, ominously spinning off the Pacific coastal regions of California. You can definitely see that very prominently here. It's definitely a very, very broad area of spin. This was definitely the major player in which all the heavy snow fell across this region. In fact, this particular system dropped nearly 10 inches of snowfall accumulation within the Portland, Oregon region, which is pretty fascinating to say the least. This area of spin will continue to dive south, which will allow extremely cold temperatures to filter in, and as it does so, it will and has been bringing in some snow in areas that normally do not observe snow. In fact, some snow has been observed near the Hollywood sign as well, but the big story here will be the snow within the mountainous terrain. They will definitely be getting hammered with snowfall for sure. This system is currently impacting the Southern California area with a plethora of rainfall. And if we look further to the south, right in here, right across Mexico, you can see that lifting mechanism that is ejecting these higher clouds across the southern plains here, which is definitely bringing in that cold drizzle that we've seen across the area today. Also, not to go too far away from this, the data at hand, we observed as a nation over 100 records broken in terms of temperature yesterday, which to me is absolutely mind-boggling to say the least, especially given the month of February. We observed a plethora of record high temperatures extending from the southeast and along the Texas coastal plain, so right around this region as well. This actually extended all the way up to the mid-Atlantic states, with the World Weather Authority studio right up in this region here, beating the record temperature here, topping out at a whopping 71 degrees yesterday. So it was definitely a truly nice day, and very interesting to see it all unfold yesterday. Crazily enough, right now at the World Weather Authority studio, we're sitting in the upper 30s at the moment. Last time I checked, we were about 37 degrees. You can see that's definitely a big difference from yesterday. And you can see the changes that we went through here in the Pittsburgh area. It was definitely crazy to witness for sure. We went from everybody at work, so I work at Home Depot, and just seeing that many people come in yesterday for sort of lawn and gardening equipment and things like that was definitely pretty interesting. And I actually saw a lot of people return some of those items today at work due to the colder temperatures. So I guess everybody thought spring was actually commencing, but unfortunately they got a rude awakening this morning when temperatures actually were about 58 degrees this morning, but then dropped throughout the day to about 37. Right now I'm looking at the weather station here, we're about 35 degrees, so it's definitely very cold. Also, we had over 46 records broken in terms of low temperatures as well across the northern Great Plains, as well as through the Intermountain West and down along the Pacific coastline. So it's definitely a very interesting pattern, folks. Heading back to the weather today, ladies and gentlemen, that cold frontal zone and the major temperature gradient that we have been discussing in previous videos is definitely on the move, helping to unfortunately remove those high temperatures across the southern Great Plains and through the Ohio Valley region. You can see even portions of Oklahoma currently sitting down below freezing at the moment. You can see 29 in Oklahoma City here, so it's definitely pretty crazy to see considering the temperatures that we were at yesterday. And you can see this cold actually dipping down all the way through central Texas, sitting into the 50s, some 30s also appearing in Texas as well. And you can definitely see this is actually reading 38 in Pittsburgh area, but the weather station right next to me that I have mounted to the house here, actually a little bit further away from the house, actually on its own separate pole, about 14 feet or so in the air. We're looking at about 35.7 degrees right now, so it's definitely pretty interesting to see. We were at 71 yesterday. Just to see that temperature difference from yesterday to today is definitely pretty crazy. Much cooler conditions are certainly underway across much of the nation. However, the main event is still residing over the open waters of the Pacific Ocean, with those rains and snows beginning to show up across Southern California here. It's definitely going to get very interesting as we head into the next few days. Looking at the snowfall totals over the past 74 hours, we have been discussing this event unfolding across much of the northern plains of the country here. Some areas within Wisconsin as well picked up over 20 inches of snowfall, and portions of Minnesota picked up around 16 inches. The snowfall also blanketed Michigan, northern Michigan, I should say, and New England as well. And just to the south, that icing event took place, which is definitely not good, especially across southern Wisconsin and southern Michigan. And even Michigan to this hour, currently, we're looking at over 700,000 customers are still without power. Some areas observed over half an inch of ice buildup on the power lines and trees, which aided in the formation of many power outages. So our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to the folks that are definitely still dealing with the crippling ice storm and the after effects as well. Given the amount of ice that were on the power lines and trees, definitely adding between 500 and 600 pounds of weight, definitely brought down a lot of power lines and trees as well. And unfortunately, left nearly 1 million people without power. And right now, still, we're looking at over 700,000 customers without power. So it's definitely not a good situation. Turning our attention to the west coast here, significant mountain snows are likely to continue tonight into early Saturday, with major impacts to travel and infrastructure here. Down trees and power lines are certainly possible, and lowering snowfall elevations may bring significant snowfall accumulations to places where snow is termed unusual. So it's definitely pretty interesting to see. It's definitely going to happen in lower elevations here in Southern California. Very strong winds will also be leading to blizzard conditions in some of the mountain passes, which will lead to power outages and tree damage. Blowing dust is also possible across the desert southwest. So we're going to have to be on the lookout for dust storms, otherwise known as haboobs. So yeah, guys, it's definitely pretty crazy. I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't have this map on. I should have had that on. But yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy. These significant mountain snows are definitely going to be pretty interesting later on this afternoon into this evening and even into tomorrow morning. You can see these purple areas here. These are major impact areas. These actually include up towards to the north of Los Angeles here. So it's definitely not good. You can definitely see these areas are going to be very, very treacherous over the next 24 to 48 hours as well. And even into the Sierra Nevadas, we're definitely looking at that. Even up towards Reno, we're looking at major impacts as well. So it's definitely not good at all. You can even see to the northwest of Las Vegas, we're getting into some very dangerous and major impacts here into the purple areas. It's definitely pretty interesting to see. Very strong winds will also lead to blizzard conditions in some of the mountain passes here, which is definitely going to lead to power outages and tree damage. And blowing dust is also possible within the desert southwest area. So right along here, folks. So we're going to be on the lookout for some dust storms developing here. So it's not going to be a good situation. Regardless of where you live here, guys, we're definitely going to be impacted by various weather events. On the liquid precipitation front, heavy rain may lead to flooding of streams and rivers, which leads to flooding in areas prone to flash flooding here. Strong rip currents coupled with high waves will also generate very hazardous conditions to beachgoers as well. So if you guys plan on going to the beach, definitely prepare. Watch out for those rip currents. It's definitely very, very tough to get out of those. Temperatures will also continue to dip well below climatological norms over much of the region, with below freezing temperatures occurring in various locations within Northern California. So we're definitely going to see below freezing temperatures here, with places including Redding down through Chico and even Yuba City here and down through the Sierra Nevadas as well. We're definitely going to see those below freezing temperatures there and into the higher elevations across Southern California. Also, within Los Angeles, California, a moderate risk in terms of excessive rainfall has been issued, which is very rare for this area for sure. Several inches of rainfall, as I had mentioned in previous videos, are certainly possible across the region. As the storm moves inland, it will be setting the stage for a major severe weather outbreak on Sunday heading into Monday, folks. Hanging on to the winter side of things for a little bit longer here, let's take a look at the snow accumulations expected over the next 48 hours or so. Let me state one more time, the time period for these snowfall accumulations are just for the next 48 hours, folks. We could be seeing over 80 inches of snowfall in the mountainous terrain here in the Sierra Nevada. So it's definitely pretty interesting. It's totally amazing to see these values in just 48 hours. I mean, that is a lot of snow. The lower levels in elevation may experience 2 to 5 feet of snowfall, as well as between 4,000 and 6,500 feet in elevation. So that's definitely pretty crazy. We're going to see about 1 foot of snow there. And below 2,000 feet of elevation, we could see between 6 and 10 inches of snowfall. Below 1,000 feet in elevation, a dusting of snow is certainly possible, especially on the northern side of Los Angeles here, and even down to the south of Los Angeles. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is certainly shaping up to be a very rare event indeed. Switching from frozen to liquid precipitation, the rainfall totals will be a huge event as well. So the map shown here is exactly why the moderate risk in the excessive rainfall outlook exists, especially since some areas could receive between 2 and 5 inches of rainfall. Thus, folks, please be on the lookout for flash flooding events to take shape. If you come across flooded roadways, please turn around. Don't drown, folks. Your life is always more important than where you're going. Always keep that in mind. In terms of rarity, the Las Vegas area as well can see up to a half an inch of rainfall, and some portions of Nevada could also see up to a half an inch as well. Thus, it is definitely a truly rare event we'll be witnessing over the next 48 hours. It is very good, though, to see rainfall heading into the Lake Mead area, where rainfall is desperately needed. We can also see the lighter rainfall stream across Texas here, where warmer temperatures exist aloft above a layer of shallow, colder air. If temperatures were in fact colder at the surface at this time, we would actually be witnessing a freezing rain event taking shape across much of Texas in the deep south, which would definitely not be good. But fortunately, since temperatures at the surface are warmer, we are observing light rain and drizzle instead of freezing rain, which is definitely good news for the time being. As aforementioned, this major storm system will be impacting Southern California. So it's definitely begin to propagate to the east. By Sunday morning, folks, it will still be over the Southern California region. However, it will be impacting portions of Arizona and extreme western Texas as well. This will begin to push the rain and snow out of the Southern California region and move it to over the desert Southwest here. And let's propagate a little bit forward here in time. Let's actually go to very late. We'll go to late Sunday night here. Sunday evening, this is where things will definitely get interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We see a bit more of a negative tilt with this system by this time period, and where the lifting mechanism and moisture come together, this will definitely produce severe weather across the region. And take a look at these isobars, folks. With that being that close together, we know for a fact that the surface winds will be ripping across the region, which is exactly why the Storm Prediction Center has introduced a greater risk for damaging winds across the region, stretching from north central Texas through Oklahoma, which includes the OKC, or Oklahoma City metro area, and the Norman area, extending almost all the way into southern Kansas, folks. So let's actually take a look at that. So let me go to SPC outlooks here. We can go down to day 3. Take a look at that. Let's actually zoom in a little bit. Let's go to the regional. Yeah, but take a look at that here, folks. It's definitely very interesting. So we could definitely be observing damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour across the region for sure by Sunday evening. The OKC metro area looks to be where the majority of the activity will take shape, especially during the evening hours. All hazards are possible with this system, which includes damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour, large hail greater than quarter size, and the potential for stronger tornadoes as well. All right, let's take a look at the severe weather setup here. The initialization of storms will be discrete supercells at first, which will definitely be very dangerous. However, these will eventually congeal into a line of cells, more linear in structure as we progress further south and into the late evening hours on Sunday. So it's definitely pretty crazy. In this more southern QLCS mode, we will see more of a damaging wind threat materializing here. It is further to the north, in north central Texas and down into central Oklahoma, where you definitely need to be concerned about very large hail and the potential for damaging tornadoes. This activity will also exist into the north through northern into Kansas as well. So southern Kansas, central Kansas as well. So we have to watch this very carefully. As we move through the late evening to the overnight hours on Sunday, we'll be into Monday. We'll be witnessing more of a QLCS type structure that runs further south. However, a capping inversion will be in play over here down in the south as well. So the further south you travel, the less chance of severe weather you have seeing. This capping inversion exists as warmer air aloft. As storm updrafts rise into the atmosphere and encounter this warm air aloft, the storm essentially shuts down and becomes more elevated in nature instead of surface base forming on top of the boundary layer instead of pushing through it. These storms very rarely produce severe weather. However, they will still induce damaging winds by tapping into the drier mid-levels of the atmosphere. And as these winds surge down to the surface, these storms will collapse, essentially generating downburst activity, which could cause some wind damage for sure. Let's actually step this forward just a little bit here. Might be a little bit too far. So further north, however, across eastern Oklahoma heading into Arkansas, please stay on alert for severe weather with large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Air parcels within these storms will be able to push through the boundary layer and rise to 40, 50, even 60,000 feet, generating more severe activity. So it's definitely be very interesting as we move forward. Alright folks, regarding this video, that's about it in terms of information from tonight through Monday morning. After that, the models seem to disagree with temperatures and weather systems, thus I am awaiting the new data tomorrow to provide a more accurate picture of the end of February here. Nevertheless, thank you all for joining me in another video discussing the weather. Folks, if you have not subscribed yet, definitely consider doing so and enable notifications to ensure you do not miss any future weather updates. And there will definitely be plenty of them, folks, as we move forward. Also, leave a like and comment down below if you are enjoying our content. Please remain safe over the next few days with this massive storm system coming in, especially into Southern California, across the desert Southwest, and especially during that severe weather event taking place Sunday night through Monday morning. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, never stop chasing.